Hey everyone, I'm Jill.
And I'm Caleb.
Welcome to the Simply Smarter podcast.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
Yes, absolutely.
This is going to be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm positive of it.
It's, middle of the week, podcast day. Let's go.
What's better than that, right?
I know. It's not snowing. It's going to be a beautiful week. No more snow, like I said last week.
Uh-huh.
I'm
still
jinx us.
skeptical a little bit. We did have that little dusting.
That's okay. I'm
gone
all
by the
on
afternoon.
board for a dusting. That's fine.
Yeah, I was just startled when everything was white when I opened up my curtains that morning. Not going to lie.
Yeah, what morning was that?
Especially since you told me that it wasn't going to snow.
Yeah, it wasn't snow. It was something else.
It was something else.
You got punked by your teenage neighbors.
Yeah,
Sorry.
probably. Those little punks.
Yeah, they said
and then I ran out in my robe and shook my fist in my driveway.
Okay.
Just kidding. I don't have a robe.
My
dad did, though.
You're only in your 30s. You can't do that yet. You have to wait until you're in your 50s.
Oh, come on.
Nope.
I'm an early bloomer.
You do have an old soul. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That seemed like an insult.
No, it wasn't.
A little.
You just do. You and Molly, you have old souls.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So
So it
there's
goes.
that. There's that.
That's a thing.
I know. What else is new?
I mean, it's February in Kansas City. There was an official test in early February. There's another one here in the state of Kansas, just happening literally right now.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing.
That is really cool.
I'm kind of
Good luck
excited
to
to hear
those
how those kids do. Yeah.
Me too. And it's online, so they'll know within a couple
Some of
days.
them. Some of them.
Some of them.
Right. One school district opted to do online testing, and you should have heard the backlash that I was hearing from students. They hated the idea. But
We'll see how it
all the
goes.
others are paper, so kind of normal.
Yeah, very cool though. Thanks, Kansas.
Yeah, thanks, Kansas.
Hey.
Thanks, Kansas taxpayer.
Yeah, so it's a leap year.
It is leap year.
What do you plan on doing on Saturday? Extra day on Saturday. Like you get an extra Saturday. That's
even.
amazing.
Except, it's on a Saturday. Yay, February. Actually, I would prefer. Can we get like an extra day in the summer instead of February?
Exactly.
Is that a thing?
Should be.
Right. No, we don't have anything huge planned that I know of. I think on Sunday I'm going to go play a round of golf and with a guy that I met recently, so that'll be fun.
Fun.
Just get to know some new people.
Yeah, because it's like a 10-hour game. Golf. I'm going to shoot a quick 9. Oh, really?
I'll
see you in 3
I'll
hours.
see you tomorrow. Yeah, that can be kind of funny. But it's supposed to be nice this weekend.
Yeah.
So hopefully I get out a little bit.
Yep.
You guys have some good plans?
Sam's birthday is on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
So less than a week away. That little bugger is going to be 8 years old. So he loves going to the movies. So we thought we would take him to the movies and go out to eat and just kind of celebrate him all weekend. So
That's awesome.
yeah, we have his big birthday party on Sunday.
Good. Yeah, that'll be an adventure for you.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very analytical. So, last night, Kate had her tutor.
Yeah.
And so it was just the last few minutes. So I said, boys, let's go up front. It was at the library. I said, come up front. We'll just wait for her real quick. I said, let's play a game. Pick a number between 1 and 20. Just pick a number. And, Jack was like, 3. I'm like, 3? Okay, that's
Good
a good
guess.
number.
That's between
good
1 and
guess.
20.
Yeah,
Nailed
absolutely. It. Sam was like, 10. I'm like, okay, well, it was 4. So Jack won. No, a number between 1 and 20 is 10. I'm like, no, right. We're just playing a game. Just playing a game. He's like, no, that's the number though. Mom, I don't understand. He's so black and white.
Yeah,
like,
he was looking for literally the middle number.
Yes. I'm like, it could be any number. It's in my head. I picked a number in my head.
It's somewhere
1 and 20.
between.
Right. Could not catch on to that. So.
Yeah. You should have totally math nerded him out and said, no, the middle number is 10.5.
10.5.
It's an even set.
You lose.
Boom.
Sorry.
Just kidding.
No, but he's so analytical. I think he should be in law school or be a doctor or an architect or something. He loves numbers. So maybe he'll study for the LSAT one day.
The LSAT?
I don't know.
That's so weird that you brought that up.
Oh, speaking of.
Yeah, today we get to talk about the LSAT.
Yes, we're cheesy like that. We like to do fun little segues.
That was clever.
It was. Yes, but we are talking about the law school admission test today. So we offer our courses, of course, a course leading up to an LSAT test, as well as semi-private and private tutoring.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's exciting.
Some different options for students. We could also offer a free baseline test. So if people want to come get that baseline before they really start all their prep, they can come do that as well.
Great way to start.
Absolutely. So
our courses consist of 8 2-hour sessions plus 2 full-length practice tests leading right up to the LSAT. Of course, we have office hours involved as well. So office hours are is it 1 hour or an hour and a half?
So they're an hour before each class period where students can come get extra help or ask questions, or maybe they got stumped on an analytical reasoning passage and they didn't know where to go with it. They can come ask the tutor for that extra assistance and kind of work those kinks out before they move on to the next topic.
And I love that's right before the actual course.
You're in the mode.
So, right before a session.
Pretty convenient. You don't have to come twice in a week or anything like that. So
I love that.
Kind of great.
Okay, and it is administered a little bit differently. So can you please explain that to us?
Yeah, so the ACT is generally on paper, just like the SAT. And then you have things like the GRE and GMAT, which are computer-based and in some cases even computer adaptive. Then you have the LSAT. The LSAT this past summer opted to go online, but theirs is administered on a tablet instead of on a computer.
Oh, interesting.
So a little bit different format in that regard.
So do you still have a keyboard? Because sometimes you can have a keyboard with a tablet.
No, that is a great question.
I come up with really good questions.
I was just going to say no, and then I doubted myself. So generally, I don't think so, except for maybe when you get into the writing portion.
Okay.
Right? So maybe there's an attached feature there. But most of it, I think, is actually handheld or there's a little stand.
Yeah. It'd be a little bit difficult to type on the iPad.
Oh, yeah.
I think so.
Right. And see what you're typing.
Right.
That'd be kind of gross.
Just me, but whatever.
Agreed. So LSAT actually bought these tablets. So it's not like you have to have a tablet or anything like that. So they bought tablets that are specifically for this function.
Oh, great.
Again, to kind of also control for just cheating and other things, right?
Yep.
So that's something to kind of be aware of, that it's just going to be administered in a little bit different format than what you normally see. The other challenge with that is there are only so many tests that they've released in that format. So
I suppose.
Either you prepare with materials and questions that are maybe not accurate or not very good that are online, or like what we do, which we think is the better option, is actually use actual LSAT materials to prepare from, but they're pencil and paper.
Okay.
So you have a good game plan. You know how to approach it. You're seeing real things. It's just going to be administered in a little bit different way.
Yeah, but it's always good to prepare it the correct way.
Right, for sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about the scoring piece a little bit. It's scored on a scale of between 120 and 180.
That is very true.
Okay.
So again, you can generally think of like a 150, kind of the middle number there. Good on.
Okay,
good on Sam. That middle number being roughly the 50th percentile. Unlike just about every other test, you get one score, right? You don't get your sub scores. You don't get all these other things like the GRE. You have your 2 scores, your verbal reasoning and your quantitative reasoning scores each out. Like maybe you get a 150 in both, and some schools will add them together, but not everybody. Maybe they only look at one.
Okay.
On the LSAT, they take your reading comprehension, your analytical reasoning, and your logical reasoning scores, and basically all of those correct answers in each section, add them up, and that's how you get your LSAT score.
So you just get one lump score.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you could be really good in one section and not so great in the other section. It doesn't really reflect on your score.
Right. It can, one section could really carry you, especially if it's a certain one. And again, we'll talk about that in a sec. So
perfect. Okay. So we have a couple different sections within the LSAT. Let's talk about that a little bit. We have our logical reasoning.
Yeah. So before I jump into that too much, students can expect to have five multiple choice sections.
Okay.
Right. And then there's also the writing portion. Now, law schools, that doesn't actually get scored. Law schools will receive that writing sample, and some use it pretty regularly in their admission process, but most prefer to see something different.
Okay.
It can be beneficial, but it's just different.
Sure. So is that kind of like the ACT, to where if you take the writing portion, it gets sent to every school, but you can't go and just take the writing portion of the LSAT, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That is correct. So basically it's a part of the exam. Some schools will use it, some won't.
But
really.
just take it. Just do it.
Yeah, you have to take it.
Okay,
That's
you have
part of
to.
it.
So that's okay. Good to know.
So then the other thing to know with the five individual multiple choice sections is one of them is always an experimental section. You don't know which one it is. So
tricky.
Normally there's only one analytical reasoning section, but you may get two and you don't know which one is legit and which one is the experimental. So
Sure.
do your best on both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Don't slack off on one.
So that's something to be aware of. So then our focus now is going to be on the 4 actual ones, right? And you're always going to have one analytical reasoning that actually counts. And some people refer to this as the logic games. In this section, students have basically a short little passage with like 6 or 7 questions according to that little passage.
Okay.
And it's they're called logic games because you have to have a good game plan going in, because they're going to be asking these types of questions that if you don't know where you're going to go with it or how to kind of play it out, it can be really ugly.
Oh,
right?
Interesting.
And
okay.
they're all interrelated. So knowing those pieces, it just allows you to, again, know when to identify this type of game and apply that strategy right off the bat.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. This is the section that most students freak out about the most. They feel the least comfortable with it. It can be kind of annoying and just intimidating at times. But again, if you can get really good at 1 or 2 or 3 types of games, you're gonna do pretty well.
Again, just sticking to a strategy, right? We
Exactly.
teach the different strategies within ACT, LSAT, GRE. So just stick with that strategy and you'll pull through.
Exactly.
Okay.
So just know how to approach those, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
And again, just know you don't have to do every question, just like any other test. You don't have to do every question to get a really, really solid score. So if you're scoring in, let's say, a 140, guess what? Maybe you only do 3 games in the analytical reasoning section, and really spend your time, be careful, cautious, get those questions right. And then we use a guessing strategy on the other.
Yeah.
It seems, again, odd to
does,
finish something,
Right.
but it could quite possibly be the best approach for an individual student.
Right. So do students generally run out of time with the LSAT? I know a lot of students do with the ACT.
Or if they don't, it's because they rushed through and they made a ton of mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Because what they're testing a lot here is logic. Because again, the logical reasoning and the analytical reasoning are really seeing, can you think at a level that you're going to be able to succeed at law school?
Yeah.
There's a lot of dense material to read through and get through and understand. And if you don't understand it, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
It may be difficult for you to be a good lawyer if you don't understand that material.
Well, this is kind of the diving, board to get into law school. So if you're really struggling with the LSAT, either study harder or maybe it's just not for you. Right.
Or again, in a lot of cases, maybe you just need to think about it differently. Right. Like this wasn't created by a bunch of law professors because it is different. It's testing a different skills that are applicable for law school and to become a lawyer in the long term, more for law school.
Sure.
But it's not testing you on ideas pertaining to the law specifically. It's just, hey, can we think through this process in a way that makes sense in this particular case?
Yeah, interesting. Not what you would do on a daily basis, talking to your friend.
Right. Exactly.
A different way of approaching this.
So
True.
Another section that students have a lot of challenges with that we see is the reading comprehension. Unlike maybe on the ACT or SAT or even the GRE, these passages are a little bit more dense and difficult to understand. Again, it's preparing a student for law school.
Yep,
it's
absolutely.
a different avenue.
Yep.
Right? You may, if you're going on to graduate school in education or in engineering, like you may be writing some papers, but you're not going to have to go through all this history and all this information about the legal system, and it can be kind of intimidating.
Absolutely.
So they want to see if they're testing those skills. Can you kind of dig in? And those are tough ones to learn in a short time frame, let alone over a lifetime.
Yeah.
So there's some specific strategies to be using, certain ways to approach these passages, but again, don't rush through. Don't force more than you need to.
Right.
Really focus on that idea of accuracy over completion, because again, all they're doing is they're adding up your correct answers throughout the entire test, and giving you a raw score.
Yeah. Let's talk about the scoring a little bit more. On average, if someone took our course, how much would they go up? How many points?
Yeah. So from our course, our middle 50% is kind of in that 7 or 8 to 12 point range.
Okay.
So again, we can see some really good improvements in a group class. Some students, maybe 16 hours isn't enough for them. Maybe they need that plus some private tutoring or some additional time on their own to make sure things are clicking right. But others, again, it just clicks pretty quickly. They're applying the right strategies at the right times and see some really solid improvements.
Very good. Very good. So, and how does that reflect when those scores are going to the different schools? Like the percentages? Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool process. And I wish every grad school, every undergrad had this set up like the law schools do with the LSAT. Basically, they've created this system where you can kind of go in and look at each individual law school and see what their average LSATs and GPA and all that information is. But they even tell you, like, what is the % chance of me getting in with this certain score?
That would be really useful.
Which is so cool. So, like, you may be applying to 3 schools, and maybe there's a 40% chance that you get into one and 20% chance in the other 2. Like, you can kind of manage expectations a little bit.
Yeah,
you have a better sense of knowing what to expect.
Yeah, I like that.
It's cool.
I like that a lot.
So
very good.
And before we move on too fast, I also want to talk about the third section, the logical reasoning section.
We missed a section.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness.
It almost got away from us.
Woof.
And this is one that I personally think, if we're applying the right testing strategies, is the most important section of them all.
Yeah.
Because there are always 2 logical reasoning sections, right? That count. Maybe you have 3 because one's an experimental. But definitely 2. So you basically have twice as many questions in this section, and it's basically worth twice as much as the other sections.
Ooh, that's heavy.
So if we can really dig in and feel really comfortable with these types of questions, this is where we were talking about, like, if we can, and basically it's that raw score. Let's get as many questions correct as possible. And if we're really good at this section, man, we can pick up a lot of points.
Yeah,
we can really boost that LSAT score focusing on this piece.
Oh, I like that. So can you give us an example of a logic reasoning question?
Ooh, man, that's on the spot.
Putting you on the spot, Caleb.
Oh, wow. Off the top of my head,
maybe a good one.
A good one. All right. Okay, so here's an example. Here I'm looking at an LSAT. It's right here in front of me, nice and handy.
Nice.
Sharon heard her favorite novelist speak out against a political candidate that Sharon had supported for years. As a result, Sharon's estimation of the novelist declined, but her estimation of the candidate did not change. The situation described above conforms most closely to which of one of the following principles. And then they give 5 different principles. Like, for instance, answer choice A says, artists who speak out on political matters will have influence only among their most dedicated fans. And then they give 4 other options. We just have to find the one that actually applies to this situation. So that's kind of a short one. Actually, this is the shortest one on all these pages.
Oh, wow.
So there are some others that are pretty intense and kind of long, and you have to really dig in and be careful and watch the wording. And
wow, that's really intense.
It's kind of awesome.
It is.
In a weird way.
In a weird way. Right. You should see my face. I'm like,
right.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
She looks pained. I'll give that to you.
This is painful to me. Oh, funny. Okay, well, we have several, we have quite a few more LSAT dates for 2020.
Yeah.
We're already in the course for the March 30th test, but there's also an April, June, July, August, October, and November.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few.
There are quite a few. 2 things that I would have everybody kind of think about when they're picking their test date. One, some of the test dates are actually on Saturdays. Works great with a lot of people's schedules.
Yep.
Some are on Mondays.
Ooh.
So if you are working, make sure you're paying attention to that.
Yeah. Take that day off.
Right. You're taking the day off, or if you can't get off, pick another test date.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So that's
pay close attention to that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's an important piece. The other thing that we've tried to do for all of our courses is to pick test dates that the tests are actually disclosed.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty cool and kind of handy, because on those tests, students actually can get the test back and see what they missed.
right.
On about half or a little bit more than half of the test dates now, you can't get that back. So
you don't know what you missed.
Here's my
really.
score, but there's no context.
Oh,
right? So
I wouldn't like that.
We like those disclosed test dates, so we can actually kind of take a look at that material. And again, because we don't even get sub scores like on other tests.
Right.
So maybe you didn't do quite as well, but you actually did really well in one, but bombed a couple others.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
definitely want to know that.
Kind of gives you some feedback.
Check that
I
out.
think is important.
Mm-hmm,
so
absolutely. And we have 2 really great tutors.
Oh my
who
gosh.
teach
Let's
the
brag on
LSAT.
them a little bit.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Audrey and Ashley are just both amazing. They've taught here at Get Smarter Prep for a number of years each. But on top of that, like they both scored in the 99th percentile on the LSAT. And they're just brilliant. And they know their stuff. And really, really great resources for our students.
Awesome.
So
wonderful. If you guys have any, absolutely. Please do. I love that. Any other questions for us regarding the LSAT in general or, specific pieces, let us know. We are here to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we want to help you get the best score that you can get from the LSAT. So
thanks for joining us.
Yeah. We'll see you next week.
All right. See ya.
High school can be tough. We'll help you navigate some of the areas you need help with, including the college preparation process by providing advice for families. Every student is different and has a unique path. That's why we created this podcast. Our innovative and intentional approach builds confidence in the individual student. Listen each week to find out how students can score better on college placement tests with techniques and methods that build confidence, beat test anxiety, and identify strengths within each student. You're listening to Simply Smarter with hosts Caleb and Jill. Check out our blog at GetSmarterPrep.com for more college prep related topics.